You might be planting the wrong crops in Stardew Valley, but don't worry, I got you. Before we get to the crops, you need to understand how the crop enhancers work in this game. First, we have retaining soil. This stuff will give your crops a chance that they will remain watered the following day. The truth is, this is absolutely useless. Only use deluxe retaining soil as it has a 100% chance to keep your crops watered. The other versions are just not that good. Next, we have fertilizers. Fertilizers will cause you to harvest higher quality crops. I would only use fertilizers in two scenarios. First, it can help you collect the gold quality crops for the quality crops bundle, and secondly, you can pair this with a farmer's lunch to harvest iridium quality crops. If you have no intention of processing your crops, then this will let you maximize your profits. Next, we have speed grow, and unlike the other two, speed grow is always good. Speed grow only does one thing: it makes your crops grow faster. It is great to use on one-time crops like starfruit, pumpkins, and sweet gem berries, but it is also pretty good on regrowable crops like hops and ancient fruit. However, there is something important to note about regrowable crops. The speed grow will only make the crop mature faster, and it will not cause the regrowing stage to go faster. While this is not ideal, it is still pretty good for certain crops. Before we get on to profitability, let's chat about the giant crops. If you plant cauliflower, melons, or pumpkins in a 3x3 grid, they have a chance to turn into a giant crop. Giant crops can be harvested with an axe and yield more crops. However, you do not need to harvest them as they will not die no matter the season, so you could keep them on your farm as decoration. If you are specifically trying to get a giant crop on your farm, you could leave your crops after they have fully matured. As long as they are watered, each day that passes does have a chance for them to turn into a giant crop. Let's talk about spring. I will go over ancient fruit later, but spring is not actually the best season for profits. The two best crops in spring are the mighty strawberry and the coffee bean. The problem is that strawberry seeds can only be purchased in the middle of the season at the egg festival, so they are only really reliable if you buy seeds for the next year. Planting these seeds on the 13th of spring is not nearly as profitable as planting them on the first day of spring. Then we have coffee beans, which are actually pretty good if you plant them really early in spring. The truth is that coffee beans can grow in both spring and summer. They also reproduce every 2 days, and they often drop 4 beans per harvest. You could easily have a massive field of coffee crops and be absolutely stacked with coffee beans. What I like to do with coffee is plant them around the Junimo hut with sprinklers and completely forget about them for both spring and summer, and then randomly stumble onto an absolutely filled Junimo hut. You could sell the beans as they are, but it's much more profitable if you turn the beans into coffee by dropping them into kegs. It only takes 2 in-game hours. If you are playing on a brand new playthrough in your first season, well then kale seems to be the best bet. Kale seeds only cost 70 gold, they only take 6 days to grow, and they are decently profitable. Summer, finally an actual good season. Summer is a season that is filled with amazing crops. You have no shortage. Let's start simple. Wheat. Wheat is not profitable. However, wheat only takes 4 days to grow. It rains a lot in summer, so you could plant your wheat seeds somewhere random on your farm, forget about them, and by the end of summer it might have rained 4 times and they could be ready for harvesting with no watering by you. Now for some actual good crops. Hops. Yes, hops is absolutely broken in this game. It will take a very long 11 days for your hop crops to start producing hops, but then it will regrow every single day. Now the actual hop crop is worthless, but if you turn it into pale ale by dropping it into a keg, well, its value increases by 1200%. Hops are high maintenance as you will have to drop them into a keg every 2 days, but they can be the most profitable crop in the game if you have the patience to put up with it. Next we have starfruit. You know that starfruit is insanely valuable. Just look at this profitability graph for summer. Starfruit is destroying every other crop. The whole reason for this is because starfruit seeds are expensive at 400 gold each. This means that the actual starfruit sells for a high amount, 750 gold. Now the actual profit on the crop is very small, but the real profit comes when you place them into kegs. Kegs increase the value by 300%. Pair that with the artisan version and your starfruit wine will sell for 3,150 gold. So if you plant 100 crops, that's 300,000 gold for the low cost of 40,000 gold in seeds. It's crazy. While pineapples can grow in summer, and while they are very profitable, I wouldn't really grow them on your farm because it is quite tedious to get their seeds. Rather plant pineapples in your greenhouse, on your Ginger Island farm, or in your sheds with garden pots and deluxe retaining soil. If you are in your first summer, then blueberries are the most profitable crop that you can grow, but if you are a pro gamer and have preserve jars or kegs already, then grow melons as they will make more money quicker when being processed. The rest of the summer crops are not worth your time. Fall is an interesting season. Naturally, wheat can also grow in fall, so do take advantage of that if you want to. Fall is a season where honey shines, as you can plant fairy roses in fall. Fairy roses will cause your bee houses to produce the most profitable flower honey in the entire game. Everyone should be abusing fairy rose honey every single fall. It's too profitable to ignore. Fall is also the season where you can plant sweet gem berries. Sweet gem berries can be profitable in a very unique niche scenario that I will cover in another video. If you are not in this super endgame, then only plant a single one of these so that you can get an easy star drop at the secret woods. If you are not planning on processing any of your crops that you grow, then cranberries are the best crop to grow in fall. They reproduce every 5 days and they are surprisingly profitable. However, if you are planning on processing your crops, then pumpkins are by far the best fall crop out there. Pumpkin juice sells for a very good amount, and by the time you reach fall, you should have plenty of sprinklers so you could make an absolute killing with pumpkins. Ginger Island is special. You can plant any crop no matter what season it is on Ginger Island. You might think that this complicates things and makes it really hard to decide what to plant, but the truth is it's easy. There are only 2 crops that you should ever consider growing on Ginger Island, and it's either starfruit or ancient fruit. Plant starfruit if you are willing to replant your crops every 2 weeks. If you are a little bit lazier like myself, then plant ancient fruit on your Ginger Island farm. Ancient fruit will regrow every 7 days and is by far one of the most profitable crops in the game. The problem with ancient fruit is that it's somewhat hard to get enough seeds to fill up your entire Ginger Island farm. You will have to slowly turn ancient fruit into seeds with a seed maker over time, but it's worth it. This doesn't even need to be said, but always turn your starfruit and your ancient fruit into wine. If you are going to plant these high value crops, you just need to process them. That's just the rule. Okay, so you know exactly which crop you should be growing, but which farming profession should you pick? Watch this video to find out. Thank you for watching, but for now, I will see you in the next video.